Welcome to my channel, I'm Gary Wuryawan, and today I'm going to show you how to create a clean guitar tone using Bias FX2 Mobile. Let's go! Before we continue with today's video, if you are a current subscriber of my channel, welcome back. I hope that you will enjoy today's video and thank you always for your support. If you are a new viewer of my channel, also welcome. I hope that you will also enjoy today's video. My channel is all about photography, filmmaking, camera gear, lenses, micro four thirds, as well as home recording, music, guitar, rock, metal, that kind of stuff. So if you're into those kind of things, please consider subscribing to my channel. And now let's continue with today's video. So today's video is all about creating a versatile clean tone for your guitar using Bias FX2 Mobile. So this kind of tone is the tone that you can use for all sorts of different kind of musical genres, from rock, pop, a little bit of metal, as well as a little bit of jazz. And it sounds very flexible so that you can apply it to different kind of playing styles. Now I made a quick demonstration of this tone in a context of a mix with drum and bass and other instruments so that you can hear how it sounds right now. Let's change perspective and create this tone together on my iPad. Let's go! Welcome, so this is today's setup. This is my iPad mini 2019 and we're currently opening Bias FX2 Mobile. I'm using my custom Stratocaster by Faga Guitar Work. This is my 24 fret Stratocaster, humbucker single, and we're going to demo everything in either the neck pickup or the neck plus middle pickup. So the main purpose of today's setup is to show you a very versatile kind of clean sound that you can use to play a whole lot of different kind of genres, from jazz, maybe something like this, or even something that's a little bit more percussive like funk, something like this. Or if you want to play something softer with a little bit of ambience kind of touch, something like this. Something like that. So this setup will produce a very great sounding clean tone that is very versatile, that you can use for a lot of different musical genres. And the setup right here is already complete, but I want to take you through one by one how I set it up from beginning until the end. And the heart of this tone is actually the amp and the cabinet. And for that I'm using the 67 Blackface Duo, and I customized it a little bit in Bias M. So now let's go to Bias M and see what I actually did with the amplifier and the cabinet. So let's do that. Alright, so right now we're in Bias M. So as you can see right now we're in the main custom panel, and the way I set it up is gain right in the middle, bass also about the middle, and mid I set it up a little bit higher at about 8 or 9 to give it a little bit more boost so that you're not lost in the mix when you play with the band. And treble, I keep it also in the middle, but presence, I dial it down to about 3 or 4, depending on your taste, so that the high end doesn't bite too much and make it sound too harsh. So on the preamp setting, I don't really do much of modification. I just kept everything as it is. However, make sure that this is switched to normal, not too bright. And if you want to dial in the tone even further, you can customize the low shelf, middle, and high shelf over there, so that you can dial in the amount of bass, mid, and treble that's more precise compared to when you are in custom panel. So we're gonna leave tone stack alone and go to power amp directly. Make sure that this is set to vintage and dial down the presence a little bit, and also set the tube for the power amp to 6L6, and just to make sure that it will sound like an American kind of Fender amplifier. And now let's go to the transformer. I don't really change anything too much. I just add a little bit of attack so that it can get more percussive, like that kind of sound, and also just a tiny bit more compression so that it can have more sustain. And now let's go directly to the cabinet, which is also very important for this setup. So I changed whatever the original cabinet that comes with the 67 Blackface Duo with the tread plate, which supposedly is emulating a Mesa Boogie 4x12 oversized cabinet, and it sounds much better in my opinion. It has more definition, and for the microphone I use Shure SM57 as my first microphone. It's placed just off center, and also the second microphone is R121, which I believe is a ribbon microphone, and I place it almost at the edge of the cone of the speaker. And that's about it in Bias M. So now let's go back to Bias FX again. So now we're back at Bias FX. Let's go through all the effects one by one. Let's start with the first one, which is noise gate. So this is pretty self-explanatory. If I turn off the noise gate, you will be able to hear a little bit of hum that's coming from my guitar. And to kind of turn that off, I will just turn on the noise gate. It's not doing anything much, but it's enough to reduce that kind of hum and noise. So let's go to the next effect, which is compressor. So I use this compressor. This is the red compressor. So the way I set it up is I don't set the output too high, but I set the speed a little bit high so that the compressor kind of catches on. Without the compressor, it sounds a little bit, dull, and it doesn't have that power that I look for in a compressor. It sounds like this. And with the compressor on, it sounds like this. In terms of tone, it doesn't really add anything to the tone at all. However, when you're holding the guitar and playing it, actually, you will feel that the guitar feels a little bit more powerful with the compressor on. Now let's move on with the next effect, which is the modulation. I use the yellow chorus by Positive Grid. I crank up the treble just to make it sound more intense. I reduce the intensity a little bit, and the width, I just keep it in the middle. I increase the rate a little bit. So without the chorus, it sounds like this. It sounds good, but with the chorus turned on, it sounds a little bit more lush. It sounds a little bit more expensive, if you understand what I mean. So this is with the compressor on. So you can hear how the compressor adds a little bit more dimension to the overall tone. Next is optional. You can put overdrive if you want to make this whole patch to be a little bit more versatile, if you need a little bit more gain. However, I'm not gonna touch on the overdrive pedal that I use, but feel free to use anything from clone drive to tube screamer or other kind of overdrive pedal. Now, the next on the signal path is the amplifier and cabinet, which we already covered in Bias Amp. So now let's move on with the next effect, which is delay. So the first delay, I'm using two delays. The reason for that is just to add another dimension of wetness, to make it sound not dry, and add a little bit of halo around the notes and to enhance them a little bit. And the first one is a digital delay. I'm not using same delay. First delay and second delay is different. This digital delay is independent from the BPM, meaning that I can set the time manually. And I set it to about 350 milliseconds. So without the second delay, it sounds like this. Tack, 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 tack. A little bit fast, but I like it. And I also reduce the feedback so that it doesn't keep repeating until infinity. I also reduce the level so that it doesn't overpower the whole tone. The whole note doesn't disappear into this mess of delays. And also I reduce the tone down basically to 0 so that it sounds as warm as it can. So can you hear that? It's adding a little bit of dimension to the note. And with the chorus together, it sounds really beautiful. And now, second delay. Let's turn it on. This is a longer delay, and I'm using some kind of an analog delay here to add a little bit of character to the delay. So I think this is based off a Deluxe Memory Man by Electro Harmonics. And I set it very, very low. It's just adding a little bit of delay and not too much. Can you hear it? It's just like not too loud, and also it's almost inaudible. It's very soft. This is just to enhance the first delay, because when you turn on the first delay, it will create this cascading effect of delays. Like, can you hear it? Like kind of sound, and it's just very subtle and there's nothing much going on. I set the delay time to about 400 something milliseconds. And next effect is reverb. I add the reverb just to kind of make it not too dry again, and to also enhance the delay. So if you play in a room that's already reverberated, then I think it's a good idea to turn off the reverb and just rely on the room reverb to make it sound good. However, if you play in a very dry room, just add a little bit of reverb. This is just adding very tiny amount of reverb. I also dial down the tone so that it's not too bright, and the length is just very minimal. I set it to whole reverb to make it sound like it's in a room. And just the reverb itself, it sounds like this. This is without the delay. Because without the reverb, it sounds so dry. Can you hear the difference? And together, the reverb with all the delay, it sounds like this. So yeah, that's basically my whole signal path for this new patch for the clean sound that I want to discuss today. And feel free to add or remove any effects that you want from here to customize it to better fit your needs. So now let's get back to the other perspective and talk a little bit more, as well as demo some clean sound tests in the mix and alone by itself. Alright, let's go. Congratulations, you've already created a very versatile clean tone that you can use for all sorts of different kinds of music. A little tip for you, please feel free to turn on or off any effects that you use or don't use so that you can make this tone even more personal and suits your needs better. And now a little bit more demonstration of this tone, both in the context of a mix and alone. Sounds pretty good, right? So that is all for today's video. I hope that you find this video to be useful. Please comment down below if you have any questions about creating this tone. Also, don't forget to support my small channel by liking this video, sharing this video, and subscribing to my channel down below. Thank you and goodbye.